Hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome back to another special edition, part 2 of our interview with Taylor Heise on Our Girls Play Hockey. Just in case you missed part 1, go back and listen to it. It's amazing. But again, she's a standout from the University of Minnesota. She's a world champion, Team USA, number 1 overall pick in the inaugural PWHL draft, the 2-time PWHL Walter Cup champion, and the 2024 playoff MVP, amongst other awards. She's an amazing guest. Let's get you into part 2 with Taylor Heise right now.
All right, Heise, let's talk about kind of role models. Like when you were growing up, did you look up to someone in hockey, maybe someone outside of hockey? Like I know for me personally, like I didn't know any female hockey players, but I knew Abby Wambach from the U.S. women's soccer team. So just kind of curious if you had any female role models like that.
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, I think it's hard when you grow up and don't have a ton of like hockey knowledge. So for me, like I said, that the Timberwolves have been on my, TV when I was young and all that. But obviously, someone that I've always looked up to is my mom. She played soccer and basketball in college and still like running around with three very elite athletes with me and my two brothers. That's not an easy task. And love you, dad, too. Don't think I'm not going for you either, but like my mom like spent she's a teacher, so she spent the summers with us and was running us around and just always had a good attitude and was so confident about everything she did. Even when she'd go to hockey tournaments where like we didn't know anything, like nothing. I only knew the basketball side. Like you play a game and 10 minutes later you're back on the court and you're playing again. But another person that I started to look up to more so when I was like 12, 13, because I didn't necessarily know like hockey in that sense before, was Julie Chu. And she was someone who I then, when I was 15, was able to be coached by. And it was like this moment for me, and I never got past that. I think I remember even when I was like 17, I had seen her again and was like, that was like the best moment of my life. And then at the age of like 13 or 14, I realized who Hillary Knight was. Boom. Like dream, got to play with her, and there's just so many people who I was able to look up to, and Julie Chu was one of them because she just wasn't always like, she always said it, she wasn't the most skilled, she didn't have the hardest shot, she just did everything right and made teams specifically because of that.
Right.
My parents always pointed that out. They're like, you don't always have to be the best. You just have to fit a puzzle piece and do what you do best. And that's kind of a way that I've kind of always tried to live my life from here.
I love that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think just your conversation around your role models and the people that influenced you obviously got you to a very high level of the game. From the highest levels of college hockey to the PWHL, and what's going on now with women's professional sports. I think it's great that you can be a part of growing that piece. And I know when I was coaching with the Whale actually a few years ago, and you could see the contrast of where we were just in the locker rooms and the travel and obviously the pay, but just the way you guys are treated as professionals now, and how there's such high expectations. Can you just talk a little bit about the difference and the transition of that happening? Like, because obviously you were at a very high level college program, which you got everything there too, right? But then you go to now you're like we talked to so many professional women that went from a great college program, and actually going professional was a downgrade in all facilities and services. Now that's no longer the case, right? Can you talk a little bit about that, what comes with that and the expectations that come with that, and maybe even the pressure that comes with that?
Yeah, it was for my 5 years. I was at the University of Minnesota. It was an honor to be a Gopher. We had the best of the best stuff. I never lacked ice time. I never lacked, a gym space. I never lacked ice bath, like anything. Like we had it all. And, it's the difference. The biggest difference for me is becoming a pro is like I live in my own house. I'm on my own time. I show up. I don't get in the car with my 5 buddies I live with and get to the rink every day, and like I was usually the driver. So as long as I'm in the car and the 5 girls are in the car, like everyone knew what we were doing because we had a schedule. And I think for pro it's a little bit less scheduled. You have your own time. Like in the summer, there isn't specific skates you have to go to. There isn't like mom and dad aren't signing you up for your skates or your workouts anymore. It's very much so the autonomy to know what your body needs and what you like kind of need as a player. And I love that. That's just adds the creative aspect in for me. I can kind of move around things the way that I want to. And then now with the being pro and playing for the Frost, like we have it all too. I think we have, the best trainer in the world. I think Haley will agree to that too. Like we just have the best of the best. And now being on the Frost and being able to have like coaches where I can go to and be like, okay, I'm doing this in the summer. What do you think I can get better at? And not, dance around like it's just going to be for the Gophers. Like there was specific things in college that I had to be good at because it's college hockey. And now with pros, it's the same thing because we have more physicality, but it's just a different way. And I think time management is kind of where I like lacked coming into college, and I really figured that out real quick. Because in college you need to have that. And then now in pro, it's being able to handle the pressures of how many games we play, the physicality and USA and everything. So I would say the biggest difference for me is just the autonomy of knowing what I need and being able to choose that. Like in high school and college, it was really hard for me to see Sally down the road doing this and I wasn't, and not feel bad about it. And now I have the confidence in myself to say, I don't need to do what Sally's doing. Like I can do what I'm doing and be completely fine.
I'm going to add a question in here. I have another question, but you just made me think of something. You're both in a pretty unique space here, but Taylor, I was going to say this again. You leave college winning a major award, first overall draft pick. You win back-to-back PWHL championships, one of which you were the playoff MVP. Is it weird to ask you where that ranks amongst everything? Because that's like a storied career already, right? And again, for the audience listening, I'm not going to say your age. Taylor's pretty young, all right? Like so that's a lot. That's a lot that's going on there, and not to mention it's the first ever PWHL championship. It's the first ever MVP, right? Like it's this massive moment in sports history. Is that something you can even compartmentalize into a thought? We're not even talking Olympics yet, like or Team USA.
Yeah, I would definitely say Olympics has always been my dream, and I love the personal accolades that they kind of just show me I've been doing the right thing and
Right.
training at the right level and doing all that stuff. But for the Olympics, for example, like when I got cut the first time around, that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
I would never have said that probably 5 months after. I would say like I should have been there, what all these things. But I feel like my emotional intelligence on the inside was like, okay, didn't have the best tryout, so and so, like this happened, like wasn't my time. And I came back from that and ended up winning the Patty Kazmar trophy that year in
Yeah.
college. And all of my friends would say the exact same thing. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it's the way that I had to flip the script of myself saying like, oh, I feel bad for myself. Like this sucks. I'm good enough here. I can do that. But now like I can kind of turn it around and say that. But yeah, all these accolades are awesome. And being a PWHL champion 2 times has been amazing. And I've learned so many things back to back. Like 2 years were very different. Like I would not be able to do anything that I did without having the teammates that I did in college and PW, including USA.
Yeah.
Like there are so many people that understood me as a player, and even the people I'm working with and on a line with, they understood me as a player and changed their game because of that. Like they knew that for us to be successful, we needed to work as a group, and this is how it was going to happen. But then again, you look at it and like I haven't been to an Olympics, and that's the goal of my life that I've always wanted to do. So obviously that's something that I've worked towards for a long time, but that's definitely like my next thing. And I can throw everything out the window behind me and say, that's all in the past. The next thing is here, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'll say this: you're both on the path to that right now. I always say to my players too, look, the path to winning is often accompanied with a lot of pain. And I do not know many people that have won at a high level that have not experienced immense mental pain, physical pain. That's part of the journey. Now, again, you mentioned the Olympics here. I got to say, Haley did an unbelievable episode with us. It's actually one of my favorite episodes, Haley. I've never told you that. It's one of my favorite episodes that we've done, where she walked us through what you're both about to go through from August of 2025 through a professional season, an Olympic schedule, and the intensity of going from essentially August to the spring of what she has to do day to day to survive that. And again, Haley, to your credit, I don't know any schedule like that. I don't even think the NHL athletes have a schedule like that. Okay. But one of the things that we talked to her about, and we're going to ask you about as well, is how the hell you balance life with that. I mean, it's hockey 24/7. You've got to find a way to find some joy in it. Haley did a great talk about how, obviously you always have to show up and give everything you got, but you're just not going to feel 100% every day. You have to know your body. You have to listen. You have to balance the mental with the physical. So my question to you, Taylor, is twofold. How the heck do you do that? And then on top of it, What's the message to young kids about balancing hockey in life? Because the kids are told, I think sometimes worse than the adults, of you are a hockey player. And kids, you're so much more than just that. But how are you approaching the next, honestly, year of your life?
Yeah, I think I'll talk about the kids one first because I
Sure.
have it in my brain. But um, the biggest thing that I always say, and that I don't think I believed even in high school, like hockey is something that I do. It's not who I am. And when I start to think that, hockey is my platform and it's the foundation of who I am, I always go back to that. Like,
Right.
and sometimes it does. Like I'm 25 and I still think that sometimes. I'm like, oh, I was terrible at shooting today. Like I'm a bad person. Essentially, like you feel that. You feel the pressures of, it being an Olympic year, like winning twice with the PW. Like there's so much expectation on your shoulders, and Haley feels that too. Like it's immense, and it's something that you can't even like fathom to like talk to someone about because there's just so much going on.
Right.
But as a kid, it's like do what's best for you. Like I didn't go to breakfast clubs getting up at 6 a.m. when I was a kid because I couldn't get to the cities in time. I'm not making my parents wake up at 4. They would have, but I'm not going to do that. I'll happily go out to the garage and shoot 200 pucks and work on my stick handling moves, work on, breakaways that no one on my team ever figured out until they were like 14 and I had worked on them when I was 11. Like those are things that like you're going to bring to the table. Yeah, I needed to get faster. We worked on sprints with my brothers outside. We played basketball. That's like a dual thing for me to understand the creativity of the game. Like there's just so much that I did that I think other players, if they actually fully, there was someone filling me all the time when I was a kid, people would have never believed it because the things that I did, my dad would cut down trees in the backyard because something would have fallen over. We'd hook our packs to that and we would run up a hill with them.
Oh.
Like that's weird. I grew up tractor pulling. No one knows what that is. Look it up. Like just the competitive aspect was there. And if you're competitive and you know that you have the confidence in what you're doing, you can be successful.
So
And then back to like
I was gonna say you're gonna set a
the
trend now for people looking up tractor pulling, and it's gonna
oh
become a
my gosh.
national trend now that you said it on
I
this
will
show.
have to I'll have to send you a picture because it's serious. And we went to like county fairs and did it.
Wow.
So yeah. And then I guess back to like the stress of like the year. And I feel like stress isn't the right word because it's when you've prepared your whole life to be in this moment, stress can't be the right
Right.
word.
It's
It's the
opportunity,
anxious, it's
right?
like
I mean, yeah.
opportunities, yeah.
Yeah.
Opportunity is a great word. Like having the opportunity to be a part of such an like crazy year. Hillary, I think, had the best quote, and I'm not gonna quote it perfectly, but she like mentioned and said like the expectations are so high for this year, and you have to as a player understand how you can be at your best when you're needed to be at your best. There's what 35 PWHL games. Like realistically, if we are at camps and we're playing games, you're not going to be your best for all 35.
Yeah.
Like where does your team need you and where do you need to be? Like our league is super physical and staying healthy for people is really hard. So understanding that this year I might not throw myself into God knows the corner and someone's just gonna nail, like you got to know exactly how your body can handle it, how your mentals can handle it, and figure out exactly how to do that. And I can't say that I'm perfect at it because I haven't been in a year that's looked like this. Like I've never been a part
Nobody
of a year
has.
that's
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So I think as players, it's important to like it's gonna take some learning. It's gonna take some back and forth. It's gonna take some conversations with coaches and expectations that they have. Because for me, like there's certain things that I'm going to be able to do this year that I haven't been able to, and there's certain things that I have been able to do that I might not be full bore at. So there's that like if and when. Like if you do make that Olympic team, you might need to be a little bit better on your body come January and February.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard. And I could go talk about this for hours, I guess, because there's just so much mental that could be put into it.
Well, all I want to say, and Mike, I'll set up your question here perfectly, is you make a good point. I should have said this. This has never happened before for women's hockey. Like the timeline is, again, women's hockey starts the Olympic in 1998. And really 1998 until this upcoming Olympics, you're kind of in college and into the Olympic stage. And then the Olympic stage is kind of what happens after college. This is the first time a major women's professional league, as successful as the PWHL is having an Olympic year. And like I said, no one has done this. It hasn't been done to this level before. And I think that's amazing. And again, I feel fortunate as a broadcaster that we kind of get to document this a little bit because 25 years from now, what is that conversation that when it's just super normal, and you're both on the bench coaching that team, no, I'm just kidding. Well, let's it goes. Mike, go ahead.
No, well, I mean, all of that, right, is that the women's game is growing so fast. I mean, there's, you guys are obviously, you hear it all the time. You're part of history. You're part of all this great new tradition. You're growing the game, but really, you know, both of you have so much passion. I'd actually love to hear from both of you. But what gives you the most hope about the direction of professional women's hockey right now? Is it the financials? Is it the viewership? Is it more girls are playing the sport? Is it more? What do you think is a great message of hope of where the league is going and how you guys have been a part of that?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me is like it was a dream. It wasn't even a dream because there was nothing to even dream about. And especially for me not knowing anything, like it's a reality now. It's not even a dream. It's not even something that you can say, "Oh, like maybe one day there'll be something that I can play and that's not with the boys." Now there is. And what really pushes me every day and what I remember is all the people that come up to me and all the people that love, women's hockey. It's the professionalism of it. Like there were, I think, three girls that came to every game, three young women who, loved the Frost, loved PWHL, and they, when we won, came up to me and ended up were crying because I think they were like 45. And they're like, we never got to do what you did,
Mm.
but we're so excited for you guys. Like they could have a totally different outlook on life and say, shoot, like we didn't get to be a part of it. Like it sucks that they can do it. Like it sucks that they were born in this era that, it's great. And there's just so many fans of our league and so many fans of us that just make everything that we do so worth it. Like if I ever think about, oh, like, I don't know if I can do it today, I think of the little girl that came up to me and was like, I love your laces on your skates. Like there's just so many people who like you look at it smallly and you're like they want to be there so bad and now they can dream it. So the fact that I can make it, you know, my game, like someone in the future could say, I got to grow up watching her and she played professional. Like I want to be like her and I'm going to do that one day. Like there's a reality to it and that's the biggest thing for me for sure.
Yeah, I think that's I echo that for sure. Honestly, I think it's the young girls, it's the young boys who are watching and can
Mhm.
see that like there's, female athletes at that level. I think honestly, even the video games, like us being on the video games is massive. Like the amount of young boys I've
Huge.
had come to me and like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." Like, like it just makes it like even playing field, like both boys and girls can dream the same thing. It's literally in the game. Like so I feel like that's like a huge factor that I've noticed. And yeah, same thing with the older women. I think that's something that maybe gets overlooked at times because we're so focused on the younger girls and we want them to like experience what we never got to experience. But there's all those women who came before us who played in like worse conditions than we did. And so it's that part's really cool to see as well. So kind of piggybacking on that, what do you feel like, what do you wish that every girl who plays hockey knew what's possible for her in the future of our sport?
I think that everyone who's either young, old, I don't care who it is, like just the fact that there is something and it's sustainable. Like it's been proven time and time again. The fact that we've already expanded, the fact that, we're selling out arenas, like teams are having to move arenas because they're too small. Like that's insane. And to say that within 2 years, like I just got the chills saying that because who would have thought? I remember as players, our first year we came together as a group and we're like, whether there's 5 people out there, because we didn't know how many people for our first game were gonna be there. Like if there's 5 people out there or there's 5 million people out there, it doesn't matter. We're here to play hockey and we're here to prove to people and not even prove to them because I always say like you want to prove the haters wrong and it's a consistent thing, you're always going to have a negative mindset. You want to just enjoy the process and in that process hope that people follow and hope that people understand that being a women's hockey player that should always have a positive connotation, it should never be negative. Like even being a hockey player, I sometimes don't even say women's or like girls hockey, it's hockey. Like we don't play the same game specifically when it comes to specific rules and the way you can play, but it's the same game. When you look at it tactically, a puck needs to go on the net. That is it. And be able to have the sense of all these girls, like this is going to be here for you. Just as much as you want it now, realize how much work it's going to take, but like it's here. Like you can see it. It's like the shining thing in the side of the room. Like you can see it and it's there. It's just like you're going to have to keep working for it. It's a professional sport and we're kind of still figuring out what that means, I guess. And it's been amazing to be a part of that process.
Taylor, that's a fantastic answer. I'm going to throw in one more question, and it's only because you alluded to it earlier. Let's just quickly look at your day to day, because again, for the audience, we're recording this in late August. You were busy trying to get you scheduled on
Mhm.
this episode. What does your day to day look like, and how do you organize it? What is your plan for success with that? Keeping in mind too that the audience listening, right? They have multiple kids in hockey, they have jobs, they have school, they're trying to figure out their calendar. How do you make that work for you?
My savior in life is my Google Calendar. I share it with my parents, I share it with my agents, and anything that needs to be added to it, like I look at my Google Calendar every single day and I plan my week out to a T. I can make sure, like in the summer, I have all my skates planned. Grace Unwinkle, my best friend, does a great job helping me with that. She's great with the logistics, but just having people in my life that can help me stay on task. When I had my brothers at home and we were all living under the same roof, we had a huge, like, desk calendar, and it was huge, and my mom would write down in color, like I would make sure to write down all my stuff, and she would write it down in color. Like, and it's funny, I was never in pink. I always wanted to be in blue because that was my favorite color, and I didn't want to be specified by pink as being a female. I wanted to be just another one, because obviously you have two brothers, you want to be like them. That's just how it is. But yeah, you go back to that, keeping my mental and my body in one. That's the biggest thing. I think after the season, for me, it was all my rehab. It was making sure my body was right. I got hurt leading up to the season last year, and it was a knee injury. That's never what you want to hear. um Getting back from that, still understanding, I still this year felt a little bit of knee pain, but now working through that all summer, it's been amazing to be able to have my own time to do that. And then now, kind of like a day to day looks like I'm waking up, regardless of if I'm working out in Edina or if I'm working out in St. Paul, like I know exactly what time I'm going to get up. I always, write that down. I usually will write down what my day looks like the day before, and I'll write it down. I work out in the morning. I'm a big eater, so I gotta have breakfast. I gotta have lunch. I want to plan out my meals. Doing that, and then usually I'll skate once or twice a day, depending on how my body feels and how I what I think I need that week. And then a bunch of other stuff, whether that be sponsorship stuff, whether that be meeting with kids or getting on the ice with a youth team, like making sure I
Award-winning
have
podcast. Award-winning podcast. Don't forget that.
award-winning podcast
Thank
as
you.
well. Scheduling yourself into things and not making sure I'm overwhelmed, like making sure I'm doing really well. And because this year is going to be a lot, and I've been told by a lot of people that I need to make sure I'm doing the right things that are going to help me mentally be at the right spot, and I think I've done a great job with that. And I enjoy making dinner, I enjoy baking, like that's my stress reliever. And like I'm super excited I have a free night tonight. Like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bake and I'm going to cook and have a good time.
I love it. Again, we're talking a lot on this two-parter about some of the non-hockey skills that you both share, right? Or successful people share. And again, the skills are undeniable, but the intention with the time. I think another one for kids, right, is, and again, look, when you're a kid, I don't even know if time exists when you're a kid. You're just kind of going from one thing to the other. But kids, if you've got you play on two teams, you've got siblings, you've got things, a skill set to flex early on is to learn how to manage time. Not just, oh, I'm doing this at one, but everything leading up to that. How does your mind need to be prepared? How does your body need to be prepared? And Taylor just gave a masterclass of how you do that at the absolute elite level. I mean, I'm like you. We have a calendar. My mind would explode if I didn't have a calendar. I honestly don't know how I would operate without knowing what's
No.
coming up next. Right? So I
Yeah.
love that you brought that up. Go ahead.
I have one more point. Like,
Yeah.
I also think it's important for kids to realize, like, I had a few people on my team when I was young that did 4 things a day, but I got more than them in 1 hour than they had in the 4 hours that they were on the ice,
Right.
because I intentionally did what I needed to do that hour.
Right.
My parents, like I said, I remember the bad car rides home. Boy, do I ever. But I had limited of those because my parents' expectations were that I was a good teammate. I worked hard and I did the 3 things that I wanted to focus on that day. There was never more than 3. It was always move your feet, be a great teammate, and let's work on puck possession today. Like, I always did those things, and I had kids that were so burnt out and just over the top, weren't excited to be there. I remember every time I got on the ice, I was so excited to be there. And that's one of my biggest things to kids that I've ever said is, you don't have to do everything, you just have to do the right things. And that might be broad, but that is exactly why those people who I surround myself with are, not only the most competitive that I know, but also the best people because they know exactly what it takes to be the best. And then when you get them outside of hockey, it's not who they are. Hockey's something they do,
Right.
but they're great people outside of the sport. So picking and choosing your battles.
Well, you segued into it perfectly. You talked about some of those rides home from the rink. For those of you listening, Taylor's going to be on our ride to the rink here shortly after this, but you're going to have to wait for that episode. Taylor, this has been absolutely fantastic. You've been a wonderful guest. Obviously, you and Haley are both wonderful ambassadors for the game. Haley, again, this is the first time I've had like a co-host guest kind of merge thing with you, so I appreciate that. But do you or Mike have anything to say before I close this out?
No, Heise, thank you for coming on. It's been great to see you. I'm gonna see you real
Thank you.
soon. But yeah, just super
Can't
proud of all
wait.
the stuff you're doing on and off the ice. And yeah, I'm just happy I get to be your teammate.
Yay. Same ditto, girl.
I think it's some great stuff in here for boys, girls, any athlete that's trying to control their day and has a mission to succeed. I think it's all great advice, and we're looking forward to watching you have a successful season.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo those thoughts, but that's going to do it for this edition, the dual edition of Our Kids Play Hockey and Our Girls Play Hockey with Taylor Heise. For Mike Benelli, for Haley Scamora, and Taylor, I'm Lee Elias. We'll see you in the next episode. Make sure if you have any questions or thoughts or you want to get to us, email us at team@ourkidsplayhockey.com, or there's a link accompanying this episode in the show notes. Tap it, text us, tell us your name, where you're at, or else we won't know. But for everybody here, everybody, skate on, have fun. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.